Hey everyone, this is Dazzling Kate and welcome back to another Powerpuff Girl video. So I wanted to make this because in the past I've figured I would do more research when it comes to talking about certain characters and try and understand where it comes from. And with the new Powerpuff Girls live action show in production right now, I wanted to talk about why the professor casting is wrong and why the idea of his character is wrong in the live action series, as well as the Blake girls' characters. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me why they thought this would be a great idea, why they think it would work, and why they think it would go successful. So, let me tell you the gist of what CW is trying to do with the Powerpuff Girls series, or their live action series specifically. So what they're aiming to do is to kind of do a more diverse take on the Powerpuff Girls, as well as making sure it's diverse and very inclusive and shit. We already know that based off of the casting, and the casting just is terrible. Specifically, the Professor and Buttercup have really didn't turn out right. It was terrible in my opinion. And what they're planning on doing with the professor is making him a narcissistic scientist who is very proud of his creations of creating these three perfect girls. And I think I know what they're aiming to do with it. Like in the past two videos, I spoke about why they were like the producers and writers of the show are probably planning on doing a Umbrella Academy kind of thing with the Powerpuff Girls, but let me be honest, it won't work with the Powerpuff Girls. Everyone knows them as these sweet, innocent little girls who fight crime. Like, what makes you think they're going to be a good kind of plot for a Umbrella Academy kind of plot? With the Umbrella Academy, it was based off of a comic series that was already established as this very different take on superheroing and crime fighting. But if you do it with the Powerpuff Girls, it wouldn't work because they already have an established fan base. Everyone has known them for over several years. Everyone has grown to love them, and you can't just throw all that out the window for diversity and inclusiveness. No, they can still try and do diversity with different characters. For example, we could have an interesting take on the Green Gang, or the Green Gang, or Mojo Jojo, or any of the other characters. To be honest, like you can take they don't have a specific skin color. I mean, the Green Gang is like green, but you guys get what I mean. You basically have a lot of these interesting characters that they could use for diverse points instead of trying to make it the focus of the main characters, which is the Powerpuff Girls and the Professor. The Professor and the Powerpuff Girls really don't need to be diverse. It's it just you can't race change the characters. If they are already established as these little white girls as well as the professor being white, it really works. But if you decide to race change it for the idea of doing it because you think it's a good idea and to promote diversity and such, it really is bad for the actual people who are of color. Like you get what I mean? You can't just automatically change the race of characters already established, because it's like handing the people you're trying to represent the crumbs of those characters. Like, yeah, you only get the white characters crumbs. Here you go. And they could really still work on using diversity in the show, but you have to do it in a smart, intelligent way and not make it seem like that's the only thing on your mind. Of course people want to be represented. Of course people want to see themselves on screen. But the problem is when you try and force that to a point where people are just uncomfortable with it. And that's what the Powerpuff Girl live action adaptation is really trying to do. So aside from me explaining all this bullshit to you, I'm going to be talking in depth about why they're going to be butchering the professor's character and what he actually was in the Powerpuff Girls movie. And so let me explain from the very beginning. So we are met with the professor from like the movie, and he's trying to create the perfect little girls. and he does not want to deal with it's not established. Well, it is not little girls who fight crime. It's not superpowered girls. He was aiming to make the perfect little girls, and I think he most likely wanted them to be normal. When you see in one of the shots that I've picked, he is very shocked about their super abilities, but it does not make him love them any less. But the whole thing about this is that he didn't in the movie he didn't get up and say, yeah, you girls need to go fight crime. They figure that out on their own. It's just, if you watch the movie correctly, you can see how worried and concerned he is as a parent when after the girls played tag, and then he was sent to jail and he couldn't pick them up from school. That was the most important thing to him. He wanted to pick them up. He didn't say, oh, they can wait, they have superpowers, whatever, but they're little girls. He was concerned for them. Why are you telling me that this is the professor who basically created these little girls because he wanted to be a dad? Why can't we just have a character want to be a dad? What's wrong with that? And what really pisses me off with this is how in the show, live action show, they have him be this narcissistic asshole character who is having a midlife crisis and wants to get his girls back together. But the thing is, I don't think this is just, why am I feeling like he's going to be the main issue of this entire series? Why do I feel like in the live action series he's going to be the villain, he's going to be the bad guy, because he's the man father figure, and you can't have supportive father figures, I guess. And this is what I really hate, and I mean hate, about writers who have from what I'm getting, maybe these people have daddy issues. That's my only explanation. These people have daddy issues. And maybe not, I don't know, but it just seems like you're taking this character who is very loving towards his children and wants to be the best dad ever to his kids, and trying to butcher him into a narcissistic asshole character that nobody's going to end up liking in the series based off of what we read. And what makes it worse is that you have very talented people involved in this. The racist Buttercup, not really much talent there, but the other people, they're very talented, and from what I've heard, some of these actors are pretty good, and I feel like they're putting everything down to just focus on this one element of diversity and inclusiveness. But if you really think about it, it's not really doing that any justice, because they're focusing on the wrong elements for this show. And I get that everyone would want to watch a child, a live action child show of Powerpuff Girls, but I think the idea of an adult Powerpuff Girls could be going well, but it's just how they're doing it with the professor. It's just I feel like he's going to end up being the bad guy or some kind of threat in the show. There's no denying that they're trying to make him seem like the bad guy, but it just seems weird because in the movie he's very concerned for his children. He's those are his main priority. They are his main priority. And it pisses me off because this is just he's one of the first single dad characters I've seen in a show. This is a single parent father figure who he's very nice, he's very helpful, he's very resourceful, and he wants to do what's best for his children. And you're telling me he's gonna end up being a threat in the Powerpuff Girls live action show? It does not add up to me. Why do we need to change his personality to fit this inclusiveness and diverse show? What's the point of that? If you watch the first movie, he's basically very excited to be a dad. He wants to do this more than anything else. He wants to show them what's right and wrong. And he never thought of anything like forcing them to fight crime. He never said any of that in the first movie. In the show, of course, he does let them know of their responsibilities as crime fighters, but he doesn't force them. He doesn't pull them out of bed, send them out their way, and kicks them out of the house to go fight crime and stuff. They do that on their own part. They do this because they care. And this is what really annoys the hell out of me, because it's why would you change this whole dynamic that they've had and that everyone has loved from the very beginning? This is a very well established family, and it's just, why are you suddenly making this into a very dramatic show that really isn't necessary? Like, I wouldn't mind it being an adult, like an adult based Powerpuff Girl show. I wouldn't mind that. But the problem is how they're representing these characters and trying to make it make sense to these people. It's, well, wanting to earn people's diverse feelings towards this. It's so confusing to me. Like, why do we need to do a lot of diversity for this show? Why do we need to change so many things about these characters? Why do we need to, like, make it seem like, oh, they hate people for wasting their childhood? It just doesn't make any sense. And especially how they're, like, affecting the characters in the character development. I'm sure there's not going to be anything good coming out of this show. Like, the only thing I can say about it is that it's, from the very start, this is not looking good, and I won't be surprised if the show is bad as Batwoman. And Batwoman is very fucking terrible, because Batwoman had a lot of, like, basically tried to do more representation. It tried to be this thing where it basically butchered its characters a lot. It focused on one thing, which was diversity, inclusiveness, LGBT themes, which isn't bad, but if you do it over and over again and make that the only personality trait of these characters, then it makes no fucking sense. And will we be expecting that for the live action Powerpuff Girls show? Yes, we're going to be expecting plenty of that. We're going to be expecting a lot of diversity, a lot of LGBT themes. And let me say this again, I have nothing against people of the LGBT community or anything with diversity. I think they need to be worked on severely in this, like, in Hollywood, in shows, in movies, and do it the right way and treat the people of these productions with fairness. But I don't believe in butchering characters, trying to make it change and piss off the fans at the same time. It does not make any sense. And I know Hollywood's just full of assholes who don't know what they're doing, which is half the time true. You have them doing whatever is on the road on Twitter, and they basically follow Twitter, Tumblr, and all that bullshit to try and appeal to people who don't really give a shit about the show, who don't really give a shit about these characters. And they hand jobs to people who just don't care. And I know I said I would be talking about in depth about why the professor is being butchered in this video, but I'll get back onto that. So it is straightforward with this. It is very straightforward. They're going to make him narcissistic. They're going to try and make him the person to blame in the show as to why the girls are like sad and mad about not having a childhood because they were fighting crime. They're going to make him seem like a sicko or something. I don't know. Like something of the sorts, like a psycho or something. Something similar to what was happening in Umbrella Academy, which basically, so far in Umbrella Academy, is it's supposed to be very adult themed. It's supposed to have these problems. The Powerpuff Girls, you don't really think of those kind of problems when you watch the Powerpuff Girls. And I get that they want to do something for older fans, but this is not the way to do it. This is not the way to do it, because this is taking shit on the fans. This is taking taking a shit onto the creator, and this is taking a shit all over the entire show. It's shitting on the entire history and development of the characters and trying to change it to include people who will not watch it, who will just go, okay, it's fine because it has diversity and LGBT things and all that other bullshit, so it's safe to watch. But it's just, it doesn't make any sense because the professor's character is very interesting. Like, have you seen that many single father characters in a animated show? Not many. And the professor was one of the first, and he's very interesting. You have somebody who wants to become a dad. He wants to teach his kids right or wrong. And since he's not married, and you just think, oh, you got to be married to have kids. No, he wanted to have his own kids without the... Okay, I guess I'm getting too rambling and detailed with this. But the thing is, he wanted to be a dad. Why are we changing a person who wanted to become a father to someone who forced his kids into fighting crime, even though in the entire movie and in the entire series, he never said, yeah, you guys should be superheroes and go do your fucking job. No, he never said anything like that. I can confirm this because I at least watched the show several times. I was gonna say twice, but like several times enough to know that he would never basically say, "Yeah, you girls, you have to go do this because I told you to." No, it's like he has supported them. He is very supportive of his children, and it's just insulting to know that people are just changing that just because they want more drama in the show when they really could add drama to other elements of the show, like elements of their show, by looking into characters that have not been played around with in a while. Like, they could use Bunny. We're not going to use that other character. I can't remember her name. I think it was, oh yeah, it was Bliss. We ain't using, but at this point, I won't be surprised if they use Bliss. Because diversity. And I guess inclusiveness and other shit. But this is just insulting. It's just butchering the professor's character. It's butchering the girls' characters, and it's just not gonna look too good in the future. And I'm not gonna be surprised if this episode, like the pilot episode, doesn't go well. I would just not be surprised. And if it lasted for only one season, I won't be surprised because with the way that it started and the way that it went, well, the way it's going right now, I'm not going to hold my breath that it's going to be a good show. I'm going to have very low expectations of the show, and I don't even think they're going to even try with this series. They just want to do more girl power shows, which isn't bad, but it's just like butchering the characters, the explored themes from previous like show interpretations in the movie. It's just no thanks. No thank you. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm going to end the video here because I think I made my point. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed, and I really hope I've earned your subscription to my channel, and if you could follow me on my other social media, links to those are in the description box down below. And this, oh yeah, also have a nice day, a nice safe day, and this is Dazzling Kate signing the hell out of here.